Hi, my name is Jed Norman, Technical Team Agronomist up here in North Central Iowa, and this is your Agronomy Tip of the Week. Today I want to talk to you guys about volunteer corn and soybeans. Last year in this particular area, we were affected by the derecho about early August. With the derecho came anywhere in that 80 mile an hour winds to 120 mile an hour winds, which really left a lot of these guys on the ground. Last year, my counterpart, Greg Peters, did a really nice job really kind of describing on what to be expecting, what to look for to finish out the fall and what we could possibly be looking at this spring. While we were really hoping Mother Nature to cooperate and maybe to help germinate these seeds, we really didn't get that help. Last fall, it was really dry. Didn't really see anything, pop out of the ground. Followed up by this spring, really didn't have, anything to speak of that we could have gone out and did a really good kill on these emerged. While we were really independent on, or relying on the mechanical control side of things, we've really had to be pushed into looking at more of the kind of the chemical control of volunteer corn. We really, at the moment, we always want to, suggest or push you to always check out with your local TTA or your local retail to see what the best scenario is for you in your farming situation. Now, as far as chemicals go, you can always rely on your, the traits that you had prior year. If you had a conventional corn, boy, the options are pretty well limited on what you could go out there with, depending on the trait of your soybean, but most cases, even a Roundup would go out and kill most of that volunteer corn. But if you have something traded, you may have a Liberty Link trait with that you might have to incorporate. But for the most part, a lot of guys in this particular area, what they'll do, run like an Extend Flex or an Enlist soybean. That way they can use Liberty as one of their chemicals to control this volunteer corn. If you're not in that camp and you've gone to just straight extends, well, then things start to get a little bit more interesting. Our options are getting a little bit more limited. So what we really need to rely on are the kind of those Group 1 herbicides, those ACC ACE inhibitors. And the one that really comes to mind and that I feel like a lot of guys are going to use around here is the product from Syngenta, Fusilade. Now, that's not the only product in our arsenal. Other products out there that a guy can use. Just use the one that would be most fit your situation. But for instance, on the Group 1s, as we start, looking into those, one of the things that I really want to push out and really kind to emphasize, and we're finding now, is that you need to be making sure that we're looking at, increasing rates on these Group 1s. And it's not going to be a one-shot deal. You're going to really need to go out there multiple times. Realistically, I feel like in a lot of cases, there's going to be two passes the guy's going to maybe have to do, maybe possibly 3. But for a product like Fusilade, or any type of those Group 1s, we are finding out if you are tank mixing with either like an Enlist or one of the dicambas on the market, you're really going to have to up the rates just on the Group 1 alone, because to avoid any antagonism that those two may encounter. So we really want to make sure we want to increase the rates, plan on multiple passes across, and and play the waiting game, because we really don't know what to expect and what Mother Nature is really going to quite offer moving forward. Anything that we can kind of do to minimize, corn out in these soybeans. Quite honestly, volunteer corn is the worst pest or worst weed in as far as a yield robber when it comes time for soybeans. And we want to minimize any type of pest that it's going to be a good habitat for moving into next year. Well, I appreciate you coming out and joining me today. If you have any questions, please contact your local TTA, or any chemical questions, please contact your local retailer. Thank you, and go LG.